and welcome back to task 5. So now we're going to look at the non-random number extraction. So first we are going to use the argument wiki_url again, as well as steps, and then additionally we're going to have a variable called check_where that has a default, and the default is full text. Alright, so for the code we're obviously going to reuse a lot from the previous function, because this is very similar to the random walk. So I'm just going to copy paste my code from the random walk and make a few adjustments to it. Alright, what do I want to change? So first, in the end, ultimately, I want to return a list of numbers. So here I'm going to create an empty list. I'm going to fill this throughout the function later. Alright, what next? So we're still going to run through all the steps, and we're going to request each page, but this time we're not going to print the titles of the pages. Instead we're going to extract some numbers here. So extract numbers is going to happen here. What else? We're still going to look for the next article. Now if we don't find one, then we're going to break with an error message, and then we're going to look for the next article. Now very important here at the end, we obviously want to return our extracted numbers, otherwise the function will not produce any output. Alright, so far so good. So let's have a look at the extracted numbers. So let's do the simplest case first. So if check where is equal to full HTML, in that case we can just use our HTML code here and send it directly to the extract numbers function that we coded earlier, and assign everything to extract extracted numbers. Now since we're going to do this with every step, we're going to use the extend function. So if you add a single element to a list, you use append. If you add a list to a list, you use extend. So we're going to run our extract numbers function on the full HTML code, and hopefully that will work. Alright, then we're going to look for the next article. If we do not find one, then we want to send out an error message. Now again, we want to return, we're going to stop the function in this case, but we of course want to return the extracted numbers here, and we maybe want to extend this error message here a bit. So let's say we want to say on which page we ended up. So no new articles found on page, and then with the F string here I'm going to add the title of the page that we're currently on. So that's just going to be our wiki URL, and I'm going to split this at the slashes, and then just take the last one, because that's the actual article. All right, so close the curly brackets here, and then maybe you also want to say how many pages we scraped in total. No new articles found on page after searching, scraping, whatever. And then the number of steps that we have already run, +1, because the first step is a 0 step, right? After searching no pages. Alright, so this looks good. Alright, so let's see if I missed anything here, and just give it a run, right? So, alright, let's see if this all runs. So we have an error here. That is because I should use the other quotation marks here. If I use quotation marks inside of quotation marks, so now it's fine. Now let's give it a run. So I'm going to reuse the URL here from Dirk Nowitzki. I'm going to run this for 5 steps, and at first we want to try the full HTML. We assign this to numbers, and then have a look at how many numbers we have here. Alright, 12,000. That makes a lot of sense. We're going to look at the numbers in detail later when we want to improve our extract numbers function, but for now this is fine. So next we want to add the next option here when we want to extract the full text. So if check where is equal to full text, which is also the default. Now we're going to make use of the beautiful soup functionality stripped strings, which goes to the soup and gives us the strings with all the white space removed. So how do we do this? So for string in soup, and now we're going to use the body only because we don't want to go into the header. So for string in body, stripped strings, and then for each string we're going to add this to the extracted numbers, extend, and then call extract numbers on the string. Alright, so hopefully this is good. Alright, so let's run this on the text, and the okay, there's an error here. Function object does not have a, so extracted numbers here is my list. So we see, okay, there's still quite a few numbers, but fewer when we've excluded all the HTML, so that makes sense because HTML contains quite a few numbers. Okay, so the next step is to only look at the tables. Okay, so now we add the tables. Elif check where is equal to tables only, and we find the tables that we want, which are find all table, and now the class should be either infobox or wiki table. Now note here the underscore that we have to add because class is a reserved keyword in Python. Alright, so we assign this to tables, and then for table in tables, and then we're just going to reuse the stripped strings here. Now obviously we need to change the soup body here to table and get this all on the right indentation level, so this should be fine, and then we try tables only, and then we get in this case 630 numbers. Okay, that looks good. So now lastly we have to do the citations. Now this is a bit tricky, so check where no citations. So this is going to use the text but without the citations. So this is a bit tricky. Why is it a bit tricky? Because if we look at the citations here, you see here the citations are all inside a span with a class mw-reflink-text. However, if we want to use string from Beautiful Soup, then it would also return the quotation number here if we use string on this anchor tag, because this quotation number here is the only text inside the anchor tag, even though it is included into another tag itself. So this is a bit tricky, so we probably have to move away from Beautiful Soup here. There are still ways to get around this, but it's probably easier here to move to XPath or CSS, and that's what we're going to do. So although there is a CSS selector in Beautiful Soup, the problem with the CSS selector in Beautiful Soup is that it doesn't allow us to get the text nodes directly, which is really what we want. So for this one here, we're going to turn to a parcel selector here. So I'm going to turn the HTML code into a parcel selector, and then on that parcel selector I'm going to run CSS. So what do I want? So first I want to stay inside the body. I don't want anything from the head. And now I have to use a not function. So what do I not want? I don't want the spans with the class mw-reflink text. And then from these I do want the text nodes, right? And as we sell, so I'm going to assign this to a variable called noCiteText, texts, and then for text in noCiteTexts, I'm going to run my extracted numbers function and add them to my extracted number list. So extract numbers of text. So hopefully this works. So it's not going to do exactly what we want yet. So for that, let's quickly check the numbers here we got from full text. Now, if I exclude the citations, this should obviously be less, right? So, but what we see here is first we get an error. So expected string or byte like function. So what's my problem here? Yeah, of course. So here I'm running extract numbers on text, but this is not actually text yet. So I'll have to get on the get function on this. And now it runs. So you see here we actually have more numbers than we had when we just ran it on full text. So something is not quite working here, right? So it looks like there's too much included. Now, if we check our context here, so remember, what are we doing, right? We are looking at everything that's in the body that's not a span, and there must be some things here that are not quite what we want. Here, right? So here, for example, is stuff that is now included, right? So we get the text from inside the style element here, and you can also see there are some numbers in here. So this would be something that we want to exclude, right? So you can check the code for other things, but I'm pretty sure that's the only stuff here that's a problem. So we don't want anything that's a span with this particular class here, but we also do not want style tags, right? So we chain these two things together, and now if again we run full text and now no citations, now we have a number that's roughly 400 lower. So this seems to work. Okay, so that was task number 5. And for the next video, we'll do task number 6.